The following organizations have provided funding for this Into the Outdoors television series.
What a snack. But we all know that food like this doesn't just pop out of the ground.
Instead, all these foods go through a number of stages before they ever reach your grocery store. But the first stage for all this food is the same, and it starts right here.
This is a soybean field, and fields like this one are the sources of so many of the foods we eat and the foods that much of our livestock we rely on eats.
So how do farmers and other industries step up to the plate to make sure we have the soy we need while positively impacting the environment?
The economy.
And their communities at the same time. Any ideas?
We're about to find out as we head into the outdoors.
Into the outdoors. Grab your gear and let's explore as we discover the wild outdoors. Science, discovery, it's what we do. Into the outdoors, now what you waiting for? Into the outdoors, it's fun when we explore. Science, discovery, is way too cool. You can make our earth a bright and better place by joining us in this wide open space. Into the outdoors.
I don't get it. It would take all year just to plant this field, much less to harvest soybeans from it. We're clearly out of our element, Jacob.
Yeah, we better check back with Mission Control to see how farmers make it happen here.
Don't worry, my friends. I have everything I need here to help you two make some discoveries. Or, I thought I did. Where'd he go?
Whoa, I'm coming. Let me guess. You have a question that only a really smart and good-looking bean can answer.
Anyway, Coolbean, my investigative team is having trouble figuring out how farmers turn that field of dirt into a field of soybeans, all while maintaining the environment. Could you help them out?
Yeah. All they need to know is one word: sustainability.
That's kind of a big word, Coolbean. Let's break it up for our team. Ability means something that you can do. Sustain means to keep or last. So, if you put those two words together, you get the word sustainability, which means doing something to make it last.
And I know someone doing just that. Let me give them a call.
A friend of mine told me you had some questions.
Yeah, we want to know how you turn this field of dirt into soybeans. And we were told to ask you about,
Sustainability.
Our farm is a multi-generation family farm, and sustainability to me means passing the land and the farm on to the next generation.
So how do you do that?
We treat each field kind of as an individual. Some fields receive a cover crop, some fields we do no-till, and other fields we do a little bit of tillage work.
Time out. I have no idea what this means.
No-till is not disturbing the soil. The residue that we see here helps hold moisture, and it also prevents erosion.
Erosion?
If we work the ground at times, and if we get heavy rains, it'll wash or move the soil on us. And we want to keep the soil in place.
You didn't tell me you had a grass farm. What is this?
This is winter ryegrass. We plant this in the fall as a cover crop, and then it holds the soil in place for us and also ties up our nutrients.
So what is this eventually used for?
We have livestock on our farm, so we will harvest this in about a week and use it as a forage, and it benefits wildlife.
That brings up a huge point. How does this farm impact the environment overall?
My goal is to leave it in better shape than it was when I took over.
so what's changed over time?
We've been able to harvest more beans, and we know our soil is healthier than it's ever been.
How do you know?
We soil test on a regular basis.
I can't tell what you're doing. It looks like you're playing with dirt. Looks fun. Mind if we join?
Well, sure. So I'm taking a soil sample, and this will help the farmer appropriately apply nutrients for this cropping year.
What are you testing for?
abiotic and biotic factors.
What's that?
Abiotic would be non-living, whereas biotic would be living factors. So for example, biotic would be worms and microorganisms.
Like what?
Bacteria will fix nitrogen for the soybean plant, and in turn, the plant offers the bacteria a place to live for free.
What's broken about nitrogen?
Nitrogen fixation is where the plant produces its own nitrogen. And it's not actually the plant that produces the nitrogen, it's actually a symbiotic relationship between microorganisms like bacteria and the host plant.
But why is nitrogen fixation important?
Well, it works really great for crop rotations. So soybeans are a legume, which means they fix their own nitrogen. So adding a legume into the rotation can eliminate some of the nitrogen that is applied to these fields.
I'm still confused about why farmers go through the extra effort to practice sustainability on their farm.
Yeah, why not just let soybeans do their own thing? Mission Control, there's got to be more on this story.
There is, Jacob. You see, farmers these days realize that by helping the environment, they are not only maintaining clean water, air, and soil, but they are also helping themselves financially.
Stay tuned to discover how as we learn more about soybean sustainability.
And now back into the outdoors.
We already learned about how farmers are taking care of their land, but how does that affect their income? You know, the bottom line.
The bottom line? I'm a lot more concerned with the top line.
You might be, but farmers are happy about the direction soybean yields are going. Jacob, Gianna, come in. Find out what's changing with soybean yields.
I don't understand how farmers go through the extra effort to protect their environment and make enough money to survive.
Well, it is a little extra work, and it does cost us a little money. But the cool thing is, this is teeming with life, so this is really healthy soil. I'm going to pass this on, and hopefully generation after generation is going to be able to keep farming this way. And that's where the economics of this all is.
So how does that connect to making money on your farm?
Healthy soil, healthy plants, healthy production, healthy farmer. So sustainable practices like I've been just talking about really improve our yields.
What, yields? What kind of plant is that?
Yields is the amount of production that the soybean plant makes, and we measure it bushels per acre.
So how many acres are going to harvest this year?
I'm going to plant 1,600 acres of soybeans. I hope they average 50 bushel an acre. That makes 80,000 bushels of soybeans at $8.75 a bushel, and then we're going to...
Time out. You're throwing a lot of math at me, and I'm not a math person. I think I'm going to need to refer to my assistant.
Coolbean here at your service. I am the smartest bean since old Albert Beanstein after all. So let's get started. Before farmers do anything with their soybean fields, they have to buy seed. But how do they know how much to buy? Every math problem starts with a foundation. What do we know? Well, each bag holds 140,000 seeds. That's heavy, but not too heavy for me, of course. Every acre in a soybean field needs 160,000 seeds. How many bags per acre does a farmer need? Whoa, that's a lot of zeros. But I'm not scared, and you shouldn't be either. An easy way to solve this problem is by using place values. Our dividend has a 16 in the 10,000s place, and our divisor has a 14 in the 10,000s place. There are just zeros after those numbers, so we can divide all the way up in the 10,000s place. 16 divided by 14 doesn't come out even, but you know, 14 is close enough to 16. It goes into 16 just over one time, so that means that a farmer needs just over one bag of soybean seeds per acre. Oh, right. Soybean fields tend to be much bigger than just an acre. I knew that. You know, come on. Well, wait. This is simple. If a farmer has a 1,000-acre field, he or she will need just over 1,000 bags of soybean seed. Any number multiplied by 1 stays the same.
But how is sustainability involved with getting the soybeans from point A to point B? And who's buying all of these beans? Why don't the farmers just do all the transportation themselves?
That's because soybeans go a really long ways. Soybeans can go as far as China, and some of them will be loaded out on truck and go to some local destinations throughout the year.
Why would you do that?
The key is to get the soybeans into the market when the market wants our soybeans. We try to get the soybeans all the way to the Gulf, into New Orleans, where it gets loaded onto vessels heading to overseas markets.
This highway runs all the way down to the Mississippi River, and that's where we're headed. I gave Jacob a walkie-talkie and told him not to lose sight of those soybeans. Jacob, come in! Where are you?
I found out that the soybeans are in these big barges just up ahead. There's no way they can get past that dam. Looks like it's the end of the line for those soybeans.
I don't know. I think something that big is going to have a destination much further away.
We need some answers. So how is this necessary and how does it relate to soybeans?
Each one of those barges holds 1,500 to 1,600 tons, the equivalent of about 55 to 60 semis.
This seems way more complicated than transporting by trucks.
Actually, it's not. A truck can only go wherever the road is, right?
True.
I mean, it makes sense. They go wherever the river is. It just, once again, we go roughly 58 semis fit in each barge.
So that's why it's more efficient.
That is how it's more efficient. Watch as the barge does come in right now. Remember how I said the boat pushes it in? And this is actually how it works. They're gonna come right in and they're gonna be parallel up against this wall and then we're gonna bring them in.
That seems really big. How does it fit through here?
Actually, that's a great question. So as you notice, it's 3 barges wide, right? Okay, our chamber is 110 feet wide and there's actually a little bit of space, about 2 to 2.5 feet of extra space width, and they're configured that way.
So what does this do exactly?
Boats aren't like fish, they can't jump, so we use it as like an elevator. We fill the chamber up, we can bring a boat coming from downstream, lift it a certain number of feet, and it'll actually allow it to keep going on, and it's the reverse process as we head down.
Mission Control, is this the end of our story?
Not even close! What other forms of sustainability can you think of?
It might be the most important kind yet. So don't go away.
And now back into the outdoors.
Sustainability on the soybean farm means taking care of the environment and taking care of business. So what about families and communities?
This is a family farm. We run it as a business, but it's also a lifestyle. This farm has actually been in my husband's family for 4 generations, or 150 years.
Tell us a little bit more about your family.
I raised a son and a daughter, my husband and I, and my daughter now has a family of her own, so we have a grandson, and he's actually the 6th generation to come to this farm.
What's it like on your farm every day?
Well, there's no typical day on the farm, really, but things are seasonal. So right now it's planting season and everybody's really busy in the field, and I'm usually the extra errand runner or when I have to be a tractor driver. So we usually plant about an acre of sweet corn on our farm where we can donate it and share it with our neighbors, and then we donate a lot of the produce to our food pantries.
Social sustainability.
So this is our personal wind energy system. And this is one of the legacies I hope to leave to my next generation. Not every farm has a wind turbine like we do, but every farmer is thinking about how to make their farms more sustainable and economical so that they can pass it on to the next generation, just like I want to. And speaking of generations, I have something else to show you. This is an old farmhouse that was on this property when we bought the farm. This farmhouse has been here for well over 100 years, and it's a great metaphor for what we're up against in farming. It stood here a long time and weathered and seen a lot of things, just like sustainability is going to help us weather the next few decades.
So I get how soybean farms can benefit the people that have them, but what about the communities that they're a part of? Excuse me. We're on the trail of soybean sustainability. We're a bit fuzzy on how soybeans could benefit a town.
Wow, have you come to the right place? Look at this. Soybean capital of Wisconsin. You want to know about soybeans? Come on in with us. Just follow us, come on.
Looks like you guys have way too much fun with soybeans.
Oh, we do, especially me. I went to the state, I went to the city, and asked if they would sign a proclamation indicating that we were the soybean capital of Wisconsin, and they said they would. Because I think it's an important product, not just in Evansville, but all over.
So what is this?
This is a case dedicated to my father-in-law in soybeans in Evansville. It all started when we grew 40 acres of soybeans on our farm.
Why soybeans?
One of the big reasons is because the soybeans put nitrogen back in the ground.
Whoa, it sounds like environmental sustainability. It's all connected.
What else is the soybean industry doing to be more socially sustainable? Mission Control?
Hello? Mission Control, you there? No answer. Must be on a lunch break. Perfect timing. You know how Coolbean gets when he's hungry. You look like a farmer. We're on a farm, but it doesn't look like you're farming.
We're actually just taking a pause from our business here. We're looking at this oak savanna that was originally part of our farming operation. Well, basically what the oak trees do, they provide a lot of the wildlife habitat for us. And again, as a farmer, we're trying to take a look at all the natural resources that are around us and how we can best utilize them.
Well, we've talked to a lot of farmers about how they protect the environment, but what makes you different?
We have a unique program in our area here in that we have farmers helping farmers to try to do more to improve the environment and to improve water quality. We manage erosion, and what we try to do is that we want to minimize the amount of soil that's moving off of these fields.
So we get how this all helps the landscape, but what about communities?
We want our nutrients to stay on our fields, we want our soil to stay on our fields, and the people can enjoy the lakes, the rivers. We had a nonprofit organization in Madison here, the Clean Lakes Alliance, that helped us to get established here. And what it was really we wanted to get the farmers to be the leaders. We are now beginning to see several other of these farmer-led initiatives start up here in the state.
I'm glad we have folks like you around.
No problem.
I wonder what Mission Control's up to.
Coolbean? Not to burst your bubble or anything, but you do realize that you're eating soy sauce, right? As in soybean?
Oh, of course. I just don't eat sushi that often. Yeah, that's it.
Don't worry, Coolbean. Soy is not used for just food. In fact, many exciting developments in the soy industry have nothing to do with food. What are these new developments? And what does the future hold for soy? Stay tuned. We'll find out when we return.
And now back into the outdoors.
Jacob, I don't see any sign of soybeans here. I think we're in the wrong place.
Actually, you guys are in the perfect spot to learn about the soybean industry. So here at the DeLawn Company, we're working with farmers to receive grain that they have planted and harvested recently. And this facility is mostly used as a storage facility. From there, we process the soybeans further, and then we start the process of loading the container.
Wait. We already know about this. We're good.
Well, here at DeLawn, we do things a little bit differently. A lot of our grain does not stay within the U.S. We're actually shipping this to Southeast Asia, Pacific Rim, to be used as a staple food product.
But I thought these countries had shrimp, chicken, and all these different ways to get protein. Why soybeans?
Soybeans are unique as they provide a very high protein content, and the animal production is not what it is in the U.S. So this day and age, we're living in a global market.
Wait, global?
Yeah, the U.S. produces products that are sent to other countries, and in return, they ship products to us. The process is very efficient. Our producers for our soybean production at this facility need to fill out a contract with us that helps us certify their soybeans sustainable. On this contract, there's several things, quality standards, the variety they're growing, the amount of acres, and all of the necessities for us to know, what they're producing for us.
Wait, so why do these consumers need this?
Well, it hasn't always been this way. With a growing population in the world, consumers and producers and shippers like ourselves are focusing more on sustainable practices, not only for the U.S., but the environment, the economy, and the global food supply altogether, because we're really focused towards the future.
Speaking of the future, I've been thinking about my own future. I wonder what kind of opportunities exist for you and me related to soybeans.
According to my soydar, there's a soy scientist roaming around you right now. Locate her and see if she can tell you a little bit about her job and what the future holds for soy science.
Hey! We have some questions about the future, and we need to talk to you.
Well, I'm no psychic, but I hope I can answer some of your questions. As a matter of fact, I can tell you about soybean sustainability and an NSSI project we've been working on.
Time out. What's the NSSI?
It's the National Soybean Sustainability Initiative, and it's a program that the growers and industry and researchers have all worked together to measure and document changes on farming and sustainability practices for soybeans over the years.
How do you see what you need to work on?
Well, that's one of the processes of sustainability. Sustainability originally it's the three components. It's environmental, economic, and social, and you want to combine all those to figure out what you can do. So the industry and the producers came together to develop an assessment process to see what practices are going on, what has changed in the last 5 to 10 years, and what can be done research-wise to benefit the environment and society in the future.
How would a girl like me get involved with the job you have?
Surprisingly, there's a lot of jobs in agriculture out there in the future, and as the future comes, there's actually going to be more opportunities. And by having these collaborative efforts, such as the NSSI, the researchers are able to work with growers, and they find out really on-farm situation, what some of the needs are, and where the research's focuses can be, and what kind of research dollars they should get to do that.
It almost seems like this symbiotic relationship again. People working together?
It's very important to work together, not only the growers and the researchers, but researchers across various departments, because that's how we make the best research advances and are able to implement them on the farm in the most efficient manners.
How many farmers are actually being sustainable?
Growers have to be in business today. It's what the markets are requiring. But a lot of them are being more innovative and actually looking at some of the non-ag landscapes and their ecological restoration efforts that they do on those areas.
This isn't a farm. What's this?
Part of being sustainable is to take your non-agricultural lands and work with those too. And this is an example of that on this farm, where they have actually put pines and oaks and pollinator species around to help manage the landscape as a whole and work with the insects and native species and nesting birds that would need these kind of areas. And this is really important for farmland and for native bees and butterflies and insects that need these kind of plants to survive.
We've seen a lot of sustainable practices, but this takes the cake.
This is getting to be more and more common in farmland and sustainability, and it's something that I think is going to expand even more in the future. But growers want to do this type of work to merge agriculture and conservation together.
It seems that the soybean industry gets more and more sustainable over time. Is that true?
Absolutely. Remember, sustainability is a continual improvement process. It's not a destination, it's an effort that keeps going. And it'll be exciting to see when your generation gets up to the farming level how sustainable they are then and all the improvements the growers have made by then.
So next time you eat meat, snack on edamame, or even drive past a soybean farm, think about what the soybean industry is doing in present.
Or what they plan to do in coming years.
To make sure that the future of soy looks bright.
Yeah!
See you next time on Into the Outdoors.
Science, discovery, it's what we do. Into the outdoors, now what you waiting for? Into the outdoors, it's fun when we explore. Science, discovery, it's way too cool. You can make our earth a brighter and better place by joining us in this wide open space. Into the outdoors.
The following organizations have provided funding for this Into the Outdoors television series.